Welcome to the Coach's Cartel. I'm Chris Dufay, a fitness business specialist, which means I get you more clients, more freedom, and get you having more impact with the work that you love. Plus, I'm in the trenches with you. I'm running 2 online fitness businesses here from Bali, and I want to share with you what's working around the world. Now, really quickly before getting in today's episode, I want to make sure that you're not going to miss out on everything to come. So hit the subscribe button, plus I'll pop a link below for you to subscribe on iTunes for the podcast as well. Also, join us in the Fitness Business Success Circle. This is the group you can join for free right now that makes sure you get all the episodes, all the live streams, the guides, the training sessions, plus I'm in there answering your questions as well. Now let's bring on today's episode. Miles B, you big, gorgeous, handsome man, thank you so much for coming back onto the show. Now, I'm excited because we're going to be talking about Facebook ads. We just talked in our last episode, which FYI was just a couple of days ago, that we recorded that. We were talking about content, the importance of content. But today, Facebook ads. Let's talk about, I give Zuckerberg $1, he gives me a lot many more dollars back, and how we can do this all day long. So, Miles, thanks for being here, bro.
Absolutely, man. And Facebook, so getting to understand funnels and paid traffic specifically with Facebook, I've generated like 130,000 leads on Facebook in the last 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. So this stuff works, and the average lead cost is somewhere around 60 cents a lead, and they're worth at least, $70, 50 cents a month. Like, there's a lot of ways to calculate that ROI, but it's massive.
Okay, I think maybe what we should do, let's take a step back, and really good, because I know what you just said there, people could already be like, how do you do that? Let's think about actual funnels. What are the steps we're taking them through, building that base work, and let's just go ninja what's going on with Facebook ads from there.
Yeah. And that's so important because you need to send them to a location that has a system in place that's going to give you a high likelihood of recouping or receiving back your investment on that ad spend quickly. You need, often it's called a tripwire, sometimes it's called a self-liquidating offer, but generally it's going to be an opt-in page. You're going to exchange something for free in exchange for their email address. And on the very next page, you offer them something to purchase. We call that a one-time offer. And adding this in revolutionized my business. And it can be as small as a $7 report, something for $17. I've got a $47 front-end offer here that I'm running now very successfully. And I've tested all the way up to $97 in this front end. And then once that's dialed, you can add a one-click upsell after they buy that first one. And now what you're doing is you're generating more cash flow on the front end of your funnel. And this is all the front end of your funnel. We need to make a quick kind of note that the rookies focus on the front end of the funnel, the pros focus on the back end of the whole goal of this front end funnel is to break even. If you're putting in $1 and you're getting $1 back on average, that means you're growing your list at a massive rate for free. And as long as you have something on the back end of your funnel, whether it's coaching, consulting, one-on-one, high ticket, a webinar, something else, that's where you make your profit. The goal is not necessarily to make the profit on this front end, but really just create a system that is going to explode your list, explode your reach, explode your audience for free. If you're making money on the front end, great. It's happened for me often. It doesn't always work sometimes, but if you're break even, that really is the recipe for, a 7-figure business.
Okay, awesome. I'm literally drawing this out. I've got one somewhere on my computer, but
cool. I like it.
This helps. I wish my whiteboard's on the floor behind me. It's down there.
There it is.
Okay, so this is some epic drawings. So what we've got is obviously opt-in, then we go into a offer, tripwire, let's call that, and then there's obviously something that could be like an upsell when they take that as well. So obviously we can kind of break that on down. Then we talk about the money in the business, which is the back end from there. So this is obviously the systems in place. When it comes to kind of these different offers that you were just talking about then, where it's okay, the tripwire, is it a $7 product? Is it a $47, $97 product? Is it a recurring income? What have you just found? Because I know it's just broad strokes, but for you, what's working?
So I run 2 at the same exact time. I have a membership program, and my membership program, it's $1 trial. So it's 7 days to my membership, which is normally $37 per month, and I'm offering it to them for $1. And it's just this special because, hey, you just checked it out. By the way, if you want this, I'll give it to you for $1. And it's kind of a no-brainer. And then once they go for the $1, the next page I offer them an annual upsell for $197, which is about 60% off. And we get about 25 to 30% of people taking us up on that. So that's funnel A on a membership. On our standalone, it takes testing, to be perfectly honest. What works for me and my niche, the spirituality niche and the meditation niche, is very different from internet marketing. People go into internet marketing expecting to generate an income off of the products they buy, so they're willing to spend more. Meditation, it's an intangible value they're getting. So for me, I prefer the $17 to $47 range. But if you've got something that's going to solve a severe need, it can go up to $47 and $97 on a front end offer. I like to keep the front end offers lower and really make the most amount of money on that one-click upsell that happens after, because they're already in the buying mode, and the odds of them taking that one-click upsell, it's like 20 to 30% on average, whereas you might get 2% on your front-end product. So lowering the barrier to entry on that front-end product as low as you can, and then really making your money after they're in that buying mode is kind of the game.
So if we kind of boil this down, and the initial kind of purchase is to say, can we just make sure we break even to start off with, so it's paying for the person to come in. So essentially we're building our list for free because it's paying for everybody coming into it. So like happy days there. And I completely agree. I did the $197 upsell from that for the annual membership. Same thing, but honestly, same numbers as well. And let's think about it right now. Somebody comes on $1 for a 7-day trial, and you can get, say, 30% of people then going, $197. Do you know what I mean? For an annual membership, like that's money in the bank.
Yeah, and I'm testing on that exact thing now. I'm not even getting them to opt in before the $1 trial. I'm just advertising straight to the $1 trial because like it works so well that I'm just like, hey, do you want everything we've got for $1? Like it's $1. People drop $1 out of coins when they get on their scooter, right? Like it's $1. It's such a no-brainer. But then giving them the ridiculous offer on the next page, that's where all the money comes from. That's where the liquidation. And then you really make your money on those $37 per month monthlies. And when you make those 197s, you just go dump that right back into ad spend.
Yes.
And you'll get $4, $5, $6 more dollars, one more 197, $4, $5, $6 more dollars, one more, and you make 500 day 2, so then you dump 500 into ads. Then you make 700, you dump 700 into ads, and it creates this kind of like upward spiral of awesome. You can quote me on that. But yeah, like that's really how we can grow. And you could start with $5, $10, $20 a day ad budget, dial things in. Once it gets dialed, you're just reinvesting the profits. You're playing with house money.
Yes. Okay. No, I like that. I'll just swing back around to that because that's really good. Now, let's talk about the way that you're structuring your ads. I'll just throw out that the way that I've kind of seen it, and the way that I work with it and work with clients as well, is I've kind of worked it into 3 different phases. We've got cold traffic, then we've got obviously warm traffic, and then we're really pushing the hot, the people that are like pushing me into that buying decision. So it could be, say, cold traffic, people that don't know you. Simply producing content, how do we get people to know you first up? Second phase would be people that know, so we're just retargeting them now. And then obviously, how do we get them, say, to the opt-in page? Or, and this could be what you're doing, which that's what I've actually thought about, just going for, say, the $1 trial straight there because they already are building that know, like, trust factor. Then when we know somebody, say, has hit a sales page but has not hit the thank you page, so is not bought, then they're given the phase 3 offer, which obviously takes them into, like, maybe, and this is where, like, messenger ads right now are just, like, working
huge.
Beautifully. How are you seeing this?
So this is the beauty of the Facebook system, right? You get 1 pixel, you put 1 pixel on every page of your site, and then you use their custom conversions tool. And that allows you to identify these pages Chris just talked about. And I'm kind of helping the audience with this because you obviously get it. And what we do is we identify the pages they reach once a goal has been reached. So when they opt into your list and they see your video sales letter for that one-time offer, that page is a goal. So now you can make audiences based on those pages, and then your thank you page when they purchase is another goal. So you make these audiences on Facebook, and you're able to go set your ads to say, okay, show this ad to people who are not leads, who are not customers, but they've visited my blog, right? So these people know who you are, but they've never opted in and they've never bought anything. We call that some low-hanging fruit. Then you make your next one. So those people who bought your one-time offer, let's say you've got a webinar that promotes a $2,000 high-ticket product. Well, you really only want to show that advertisement to register people on that webinar from people who have paid something to you before, right? Those are your most ambitious people. So somebody who's bought a $17 something from you, they get to see the advertisement for that high-ticket item. And you can really structure all of these campaigns in a way that when a new person finds you, even if they find you from Google, from an organic search engine result, and they read your blog post, now they move on to a Facebook audience, and Facebook will show them the correct ad based on the actions they have or have not taken, and Facebook will continue to encourage people deeper and deeper and deeper into your funnel. But a really quick caveat, right? Like that's really, really advanced. It all starts with an opt-in page and a single OTO. Like that's where I started. I started with 2 pages, one offer, one free offer, one paid offer, and that's it. And I ran like that for like a year and a half, really dialing in the conversion rate on those. And then I added the one-click upsell, and then I made a membership. And like, so we're talking about it at a really high level, Chris, but I really want to make sure people realize that you can start with just 2 pages and one offer, and you build on it once you get a little momentum and a little bit of comfort within the system.
Okay, fantastic. This is awesome. Now let's break this on down into. Let's actually take it to the 2 points right now. Let's think about we've got the free offer and obviously the opt-in right now. One of your businesses obviously in the spirituality. We're talking with a lot of health and fitness people. There is obviously like cross-correlation between what we're talking about right now with markets. What are you finding when it comes to the opt-in? What is working on that? Because I get questions all the time. And obviously it really just boils down to value. What actually is something that someone's like, yes, I need that solves a problem that I have. But how do you kind of decipher of what that offer is?
Yeah, and like you really nailed it with it needs to be a problem-solving piece of content, right? Video is perceived as higher value as PDFs, but with that said, I've seen PDF offers at the free level convert better than video offers at the free level. So it really takes testing, and testing is actually quite easy. The headline is 80 to 90% of it, and the headline is going to be pretty much in the ad and on the squeeze page. So squeeze page, opt-in page, the lead generation page, just different words for the same thing, and keep it really, really simple. No fanciness, like a plain white page, narrow container, big headline that really conveys a benefit and a solution to a problem, and then a big frickin' button. You might have a testimonial or 2. If you got a big fan page, you can maybe put your fan page widget to get a little social proof, but you don't need much. You're not selling them. It's literally like, I have a system that I can show you that'll help you lose 15 pounds in 23 days. Click the button below and get the free video series now. Like, people are either in or they're out. It needs to be a 7-second decision. They need to be able to look at the page. They need to be able to understand what the benefit is, what the solution is, and then they're either in or they're out. Then you want to work with that until you see it converting about 30 to 40% of the time, which means 1 in 3, 1 in 2 people are actually becoming a lead. And that's when you know you've really got that kind of messaging dialed. So we played with about 3 or 4 types of things. For us, an MP3 file. We literally give away one of our one of our paid products. We sold it for $17 for a long time, and it's like, hey, do you want to try one of our best meditations for free? It used to be $17. 48% of people opt in for that. We give it to them, and they have an experience. And when they have an experience with your teaching, with your content, the likelihood of them becoming a lifelong customer is huge. So you really want to do everything you can to give them that experience. That's a big kind of trick. So when they have that experience, they believe it, right? And they'll trust that you can help them have more experiences in the future.
That is so important. I feel like so many people have missed that point, because the thing is, the whole point of having this opt-in is for them to actually get a result. And you're calling it an experience, which I agree. Because if they don't do that, if people are just trying to go for the name and email, that's pointless, because you just got an extra number on an email list, but you don't actually have somebody that's engaged, rather than now we can start taking them through. I really like the idea of an MP3 as well, because there is something beautiful about getting plugged into somebody's ears while they can do other things. So it helps with them actually consuming it. Okay, that's cool. That's a good idea. I'm stewing
it. It is a challenge on the MP3 because Apple doesn't allow you to download an MP3. Neither so like on an iPad or an iPhone, so they can't actually download it. So it causes some challenges, but there's no perfect system. And once you find that, then it's like, okay, so we have this free offer that they're interested in, that they're willing to give us their information for. What's that next thing that's going to take it to the next level? What's that next problem that they have? So let's say flexibility is an issue and you give them a free flexibility guide. The moment they opt in for that guide, they feel the same emotional relief as if they actually solved the problem that they're opting in for, right? So they don't have to consume your stuff to get that feeling of I've solved the problem or I've scratched the itch. So then you got to think, what's the next most logical thing that they're going to have? So I don't really know enough about your niche to go from flexibility to what's that next thing, but it's probably not diet. It's probably something physical again at that point. And you just want to make sure the thing you're offering paid is complementary to what you gave them. You don't want to like discount what you gave them. You don't want to try to sell them what you just gave them. It has to be that next logical step in the user's mind and like customer avatars and really getting into the mind of your customer, who they are, what their fears are, what the problems are. It's really important to know this stuff because the more you communicate to them in a way that helps them feel like, wow, this guy Chris gets me.
Yeah.
When they feel that way, they're going to be more likely to carry on down the funnel. So you got to do a lot of kind of like deep philosophical, like, okay, is it a mom? She's a mom. All right, she's 36. Okay, what keeps her up at night? Like, right. So those are the kind of questions you got to ask yourself to really understand.
Point, because I think the thing as well is if you don't know those answers, you just don't know your market well enough, and you need to actually go back to square one. Like, let's say, for example, if you're giving away let's call it a free 7-day diet, what's something that complements that? Maybe it could be like a meal prep guide. Maybe it's like, cool, you've got the diet. Now let's talk about how you actually do this. Or do you want a shopping list to go with this? Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
exactly.
This is the next problem that I'm going to have because of this. I actually remember, wasn't there a dating coaching product? And I think it was like how to pick up girls, which was the initial product. And then the second product, which was the upsell, was what happens when you've got too many dates lined up. But it's brilliant because if you think about the psychology, do you know what I mean? This is another problem that's going to be coming into what's happening. So that is really important. Now, you said something that I really wanted to highlight, and that was the headline is such a key important part. When it comes to crafting headlines, how do you go about it and how do you help others go about it?
Great question. And like I go old school.
Keep going.
To me, yep, I go old school with this. I'm all about some of the older books. Victor Schwab has a book called How to Write a Good Advertisement, and it was written, I believe, the 1940s, and it literally goes over 100 of the most powerful headlines written up till his time. And the reason I like to study the older stuff is because they were using direct mail. They had a very difficult time reaching their customers. In this day and age, it's easy. We put up a Facebook message, we put up a Twitter ad, we put up a YouTube ad, like we can reach billions of people a day pretty effectively. In the 1940s, they had to physically mail out pieces of paper with stamps, and there was a lot more fees incurred. So they were very meticulous about the words that they sent, much more so than we are today. So I study the greats, man. Breakthrough Advertising, Eugene Schwartz. It's a fantastic book. It's difficult to find. How to Write a Good Advertisement by Victor Schwab. Really, I go old school on it, and I look and try to apply it's all psychology, right? I'm not into it for the copywriting. I'm on what's the psychology? Why did this work? Why did this click in people's heads? And then apply it. And I'm usually finding things from other niches, and I understand why it worked in that niche. And then I apply that same kind of a concept to my niche, totally different words, totally different structure. I'm not swiping and deploying. Yeah. I'm understanding what made it work, and then I implement something like that for my stuff. Luckily your audience is in the weight loss niche. People have been selling weight loss stuff for a very, very long time. So you can actually pull on some really good data from some old stuff and figure out why it worked. And human nature hasn't changed, right? The means of communication has changed. What we're doing now is magic. You're in Bali. I'm in North America. We're having a video conference, unimaginable 25 years ago, but human nature hasn't changed. right? Like people are still people, and we play on those true psychological things, and that's what works. You gotta we think we're logical, but emotions run everything, and you gotta trigger the emotional reason, and you gotta get that emotional response in 15 words, 20 words. It's amazing. And another thing I do is I write lots of headlines. I really try to go kind of just get it out to the point where, because rarely my first idea is a very good one, right? And I just stick with that. And I'm like, okay, here's a headline. I'll put that up. It's gonna be average at best. But when you really iterate and you kind of go through, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, it's got a nice ring. It's got, okay, let's try this one. And that's where split testing comes in. Is a split test is so you create 2 landing pages that look the exact same offer. And on landing page A, you have one headline, and on landing page B, you have another headline. And that's the only thing you change is the headline. And then you'll get data, statistical, scientific data that says headline B outperforms headline A by 30%. And when that's statistically significant, then when you run enough tests, you start to understand okay, so that worked and that worked. So she must be thinking this, if that worked better than that. And that helps you get deeper into kind of understanding where they're at. And it kind of snowballs from there.
Totally, I absolutely love it. What you were saying, it was so funny how when I was actually walking off, you're looking at the greats. So something I'm doing at the moment to just really fine tune my copywriting is I got this massive swipe file, and so this is Gary Halbert, Ben Sevilla, super old. So you can see here, say this one. So what I actually do is every night for 45 minutes, I sit down and I just copy it. So everyone listening, tuning in right now, I got told one of the best ways to learn copy is to copy copywriting and copy it from the best. So this ad was in the New York Times, November 30th, 1982. Do you know what I mean? So it's the same things, exactly what you were talking about, Miles. And it is brilliant being able to go through this and just learning how they structure the words. Obviously, my way of communicating and articulating evolves just because I can really get into their heads and how they're structuring. It's just such an easy thing. I was actually thinking for all my members, I've got a disgusting amount of files. It's on a folder, so they just download it and they can do it themselves. Such an important.
And one great reference is swiped.co, swiped.co, and you can go sort by niche, you can go sort by who created it, and there's a bunch of stuff for free you can find there. And handwriting it, I think Dan Kennedy in his book Ultimate Sales Letter, he really says go handwrite out all the greats every night, spend an hour, and nobody does it. It's funny. It's the one thing you need to do. Right, totally. Right.
I got told that so many times. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I went and printed them out because I didn't want any screen time before I go to bed. So I was like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to print these out. And I just sit there and I just write them out. It's brilliant. Absolutely good. Okay, let's bring it back to Facebook ads. This is really good.
Yep.
What is the kind of common questions that you're finding that are big mistakes that a lot of people are making when it comes to this?
So one of the big mistakes, there's this kind of misnomer that you need to mature or season your pixel. And so your tracking pixel is tracking who's on your website, who takes what actions. And there's some people teaching that you need to go run engagement campaigns at first to season your pixel, and then you run a conversion-based campaign. Facebook's engineers have gone on record on video to say that what you do in one ad set does not roll over to the other ad set. So you want to go straight to conversion-based campaigns. And there are some of the other ones like the chatbot you were talking about, but for most people, running a conversion-based campaign is going to allow you to leverage the machine learning system in Facebook. So we go set up an audience of 1 million people and we give them an offer. Facebook's tracking out of those 1 million people, it tries them and them and them and them. And as people go through and take actions in your funnel and get to your kind of event, that the conversion, Facebook's noticing, okay, this kind of a person is converting more than these people. So Facebook shows your ads to more people it's going to think are going to have a higher likelihood of conversion. So you use these conversion campaigns targeted on your competitors, and it literally will go into your competitors and help you find the most kind of common person prototype, just that really the data set on the people that Facebook has, you get to leverage that to grow your campaigns and your list effectively. And that ties into the stealing your competitors' customers. There's a tool called the Audience Insights tool that allows you to go in and look at who your audience likes. And so if you have an email list of like 1 to 10,000 people, you can go upload that to Facebook and you can see all the other pages that they like. And then you can go run your ads to those pages that your customers tend to like. Because the odds are the people who like those pages are also going to like your content. And that has been an absolute gem of a approach for us.
And also the suggestions that Facebook can make when you're actually setting up the targeting, it's just it's brilliant. Like actually being able to utilize the power of what Facebook is doing right now is absolutely remarkable. Like it is totally brilliant in what we're going to be able to, like what we are able to do, and especially when it comes into like being able to just make sure our message gets in front of the right people, and then stalking people throughout the internet, and then being able to use these. I totally love this stuff so much. What would actually be a big mistake people are making?
So I would say not understanding that it's interruption marketing. Right, like when someone goes on Facebook, they don't care about you. They don't want your ad. They're going there to see what their friends and family are doing, etc. So you're interrupting them, and you have to kind of remember that as you're going through. So you want your ad to fit into their timeline, right? You don't want your ad to look like an ad because they're going to scroll right past it and be like, oh, that's an ad. Whoop. So you want, like, I use a lot of pictures with no text at all because look at your Facebook feed. What is it? It's just people sharing pictures. It's selfies. It's this. So you want to structure your content to look like what is already there. The other thing I see people do is like the top text that's above the image. People are really putting short, like, save 20%, click here. I use that top area. I'm writing literally like 300 to 500 word kind of stories. And what that does is it increases the amount of content in the ad, which increases the relevance score. And when you increase the relevance score, you're actually going to get a lower cost per click. You're going to get a lower cost per customer, and you will beat out the other advertisers in the auction. Because it's an auction, right? Like in an auction, like let's say we were auctioning off a painting, there's one winner. Facebook auction operates the same way. And you have to be that winner with the best like compensation for the ad, but also with the best content. And you have to have the most relevant ad at the same time because Facebook cares about their user experience a lot.
Totally. And I think that's really good to actually take a step back and understand the whole psychology of everything going on right now. Facebook wants to be able to have its users have the best time possible. So it's not about putting them shit. So if they're technically saying back to Facebook, oh, this isn't good because either they click on it but then they come straight back, then Facebook then knows, okay, well then this they don't like. This isn't good. So therefore that relevance score is going to go down and it knows not to push that out. This is really awesome.
And now they have the angry face, the sad face. They've also got that little drop down that's like the mark is spam. And anytime any of those things happen, it really starts to hurt you. And they're going to just charge you more and more. They're going to let you display, but they could charge you 2, 3, 4 times what they're charging the next competitor, to the point where effectively you're going to get priced out and you're going to think this doesn't work, but it does. You're just going about it in a way that's not kind of compatible. My best ads get shared. I get people tagging other people in it because I use stories. I tell compelling stories in the ads of the zero to hero, kind of like hero's journey stories, all in that top ad box. They have to click more a few times to get to it. All of those are positive engagements, which do the opposite of the frowny face and the angry face and the spams. They get my price to go down. They get other people tagging people who aren't in my audiences. And that's how you know it's working, is when people are like giving you positive feedback on your ads.
Totally. And I think it's really great for us to really like dissect that, because I think if we talked about how do we actually start structuring ads that work, I'm finding the best ads for myself working right now are case studies, and it's doing the story. It's talking about this is where they're at. It's not talking about the product or the program. It's going, no, this person was here and now they were here and then they did this to actually get to this point. And I think it's great. You've got to be able to tell that story, because that's what they're going on for. People, like our shit detectors are up the whole time. We know when an ad's an ad, boom, just straight past, you flipped it. But obviously if you're engaging people and it's not coming in an ad, and especially the wording in the actual vocabulary that's really engaging people now. It's just a simple conversation that we're having, being able to get us into it.
It is. And like storytelling is deep human nature. I mean, you go back to ancestors and you go way back, like our brains are wired literally for storytelling. So my best ad, so yours on the case study, that's brilliant. My best ad is, a few years ago, it felt like my life was crumbling around me. And we just kind of went into this story of how we were hitting all these challenges and nothing seemed to work and relationships were falling apart. And then we found the solution that we effectively give them away. And boom, that's what brought them up. And so kind of one touch on this, Todd Brown has an idea. You need a unique mechanism, right? And in your niche, it's really powerful and really important to have a unique mechanism. Like, why does your system work when everyone else's system doesn't? And if you look back to the old fat burner pills, before there were fat burner pills, somebody just put out a fat burner pill and they were like, yo, it's a pill, it burns fat. And people were like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this all my life. But then there were 15 fat burner pills and now they had to differentiate. So this fat burner pill has the seeds of the goji berry that were grown in the Chinese Himalayas, right? And now that's what makes it special. So you have to figure out what you do that makes yours special. For my wife and I, our meditations are angel meditations. So these aren't just meditations, they have the angelic influence, and obviously our target market is interested in angels and meditation, right? So our messaging matches with their likes, and boom, they're like, wow, where has this been all my life? I didn't know there was even a thing. So when you find that and you get that kind of magic kind of convergence, it becomes easy. It becomes relatively easy. It's still challenging.
Really good. The unique mechanism. How do you help somebody get to that unique mechanism? Because obviously, let's say the unique selling proposition or what your uniqueness is, this is a very fundamental key piece that we all need to understand, because if you don't know what that is, your ads are going to suck. Your content's going to suck.
Yep.
All this stuff's going to suck at the end of the day.
Your whole business might suck.
Totally. There's a lot of sucking going on. That's not fun. So how do we actually start to deploy a method to help people right now that are tuning in, so they go, okay, I can help get my unique mechanism to me today?
And in theory, if you're active in this business and you're coaching people one-on-one, get the testimonials, look through the testimonials, figure out what you've done that actually clicked, right? You're looking for those kind of pieces of content from your past customers and clients who were like, I tried everything, but when you showed me, everything started to work, right? And you look for the patterns in that. And I really think that in business, how I've gone about teaching internet marketing, how my wife went about what she's doing is we started by doing one-on-one work, right? We worked one-on-one with clients. I would do internet marketing for clients one-on-one. Then we started doing small group stuff. And then we got to this mass market appeal. And it's through those phases of working with people very hands-on, getting that really intense feedback, then small groups, kind of proving that our model that we've created to the world works to a small group, getting even more feedback and testimonials. It kind of appears throughout the way. It could be the fact that you have a 7-step system. It doesn't have to be something as tangible as goji berry seeds, right? I don't even know where that came from. But it can be just your approach in the number of steps you have. It's deep. It's not easy. I mean, the USP is difficult. That's also a difficult thing. But once you have something that sets you out from the crowd, it's like everybody else's stuff hasn't worked for you. Like the reason you haven't lost weight yet is because all their stuff doesn't have my thing. But once you learn my system, it's going to work for you. And what that does is it gives them an excuse to be like, oh, that's why I'm still in this physique I don't want to be in. Emotionally, like, oh, and then you get their logic a little bit of, oh, that's why none of that stuff worked before. Cool. So then you get the emotion on board and you get the logic on board. Boom, they're ready to go with you at that point. How to get there, that's a really difficult kind of it takes some interesting thinking deep on it. But once it works, man, that is that's
no, it's great that you highlighted that, because literally, especially when clients come on board, this is the first week of work. Do you know what I mean? Because it's if we don't have this foundation, everything else that happens down the road ain't going to work. So we need to nail this right now. I also think Russell Brunson nails it really well with how he says, you need obviously the attractive leader, you need someone that needs to be the face and the leader of it. But a big part of it, it's not having a Me Too product. It's not this fat burner is also a goji berry. It's like, no. This one has been blessed by Buddhist monks, do you know what I mean?
Right.
And a unicorn pooped it out. It's something completely different. Like, it's like,
totally.
It's not Me Too. It's not, it's a diet, but it's a better diet. No, it's like, this is completely different right now. And that's something I've really been focusing myself with my businesses and going, what is actually really different about this? Do you know what I mean? And that's where I was like, before, I was like, oh, hang on. With my weight loss, My Body Blends, my weight loss and fitness business, I was like, no, I'm not doing diets and coaching anymore. Actually, you know what I mean? Like, this is actually completely different, and it'll be really interesting because it actually launches next week. So I'll keep you in the grapevine of how it all goes down, because it makes things so easy when it talks about, do you mean what's new, and this is what you're missing, because that's what it is at the end of the day, and we need to be able to connect that.
And when it works, you're actually rendering your competitors obsolete. Right? Because they don't have that thing that you have. And that's why yours is going to work. And it just doesn't have it. So it's just not going to work. And at that point, like, it's a no-brainer. They're ready to go. It's really powerful stuff. I think that also appears if you're doing that writing, if you're going through old copywriting, like Halbert, Ben Savenga, they all had it. It's in there. It's in their copy, right? If you look at Proactive, Dan Kennedy wrote all the Proactive, which is skincare. I think it's US. I don't know if it's worldwide. It's got to be an Oz for sure, right? And he's got that unique thing inside Proactive that no other skincare has, so that's why it works, right? And that's Dan Kennedy wrote those. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars for that company with sales letters.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Now, then swinging it back down into Facebook ads, one thing I made a note on, I do want to touch on, is the custom conversions aspect. So firstly, can you just talk about custom conversions if the listener right now doesn't really wrap their head around it? And then also, how do we kind of set this up and make sure that this is working? Because this is obviously a very key part of actually helping the Facebook algorithm work for us.
Right. And so the first thing you have to do is you want to go get and make sure you have the standard Facebook pixel on every page of your website, your blog, your shopping cart, your checkout pages, your thank you pages, your product delivery pages, everywhere. And when you go generate your code, there's a little toggle switch that says add an extra line of code and give Facebook more data, and click that, turn that on. Then once that's on, you go back inside of Facebook Ads Manager and you just click on the little 3 lines up at the top, and it essentially has a custom conversions option. And then you set up a new custom conversion. The most important 2 that you want to set up right away is your lead, right, which would be the thank you page after they opt in, which probably will be your OTO page, right? So a sales page that's in there that they see after they opt in, and then your actual customer, new customer kind of conversion, which is going to be the page they go to after they complete the checkout process. And with those 2 pixels in place, you can now set up a conversion-based campaign for a lead, or you can put a conversion campaign up for a customer, and Facebook will try to find you more customers. But when you make those campaigns, you want to be sure you're running at least 25 conversions per week. So if you're not going to be able to drive 25 customers per week, because let's say your average customer value is $100, that'd be $2,500 you would expect to spend in ads every week. If you're not ready for that, use your lead pixel, because you should be able to get 30 leads a week. And then, because you got to seed their system with enough data so it can go work for you, right? If you're trying to get their machine learning based on 2 people and they have 2 billion people, they're gonna be like, I don't know, grandma, maybe like cousin Larry, right? But if you give them 100 people and a really clear profile of what your lead looks like, then Facebook's going to be able to go out and find more of them. I like doing the interest-based ads too. I'm just going to run for a second on this because this is kind of important. Because if you don't have conversions, if you don't have a list to upload yet, you can start basing it off of interests. And these interests are often your competitors or other things that people like. Could be CrossFit. It could be a certain celebrity. It could be a certain diet plan, like people who like keto diets. I don't like all these little things. And how I'm doing it now is I'm split testing all of these interests against each other. And I start them off as $5 per day ad sets. So I put one campaign, and then I've got a bunch of different ad sets. Each has just one interest, and they all point back to the same ad. And then what I do is I sit back and I look and I'm like, okay, this ad set and interest gave me 20 leads. This one gave me 2 leads. This one gave me 15 leads. And I look at how much that cost per lead is. I delete the ones that don't hit my KPIs and I keep the ones and scale the ones that do. And that allows me to go through literally like I'm just sorting through ad sets and interests, and I'll put in 30 and then 10 will work and 20 won't. Cool. So I try 30 more and another 4 work, and I'm just collecting these ones that work and I let them run all the time and I just eliminate the ones that don't work. And then, I'll circle back and try a new ad, try a new angle with those ones that didn't work. But if something works, I don't touch it. I really try to touch things as little as possible when things are working on Facebook.
Yes, totally. Okay, no, that brings up one thing, because that was really important, scaling ads. Because obviously, let's talk about if you had the funnel at the very start we were talking about, that kind of like went tripwire, opt-in, and then you're saying, all right, $197 was taken 30% of the time.
Right.
I can dump that back into increasing. How are you now scaling the advertisements?
And that's a great question, because you don't want to go take a $5 ad set and turn it into a $197 ad set, because your numbers have a really high likelihood of just going terrible. Yes. Facebook is notorious for, if you try to do too big of an increase at certain levels, then Facebook seems to just give you the same amount of leads for the double the cost, and it just kills your numbers. So scaling, I approach it differently. If I'm doing the $5 a day campaign setup, I'm willing to go double, triple, quadruple in a day. So I'll go from $5 to like $25 a day if I'm seeing a really good cost per lead, but then I monitor it, right? If I'm in the $50, $75, $100 range, I'll never double one of those bids. That's too big of a jump for me. I'm usually going to be in the 10 to 15% range. $10 to $25 a day, I seem to be able to incrementally go up and up. And the way I do it is I wake up in the morning, every morning, I sit down with my ads, I look at my numbers, and I make a decision. And if I'm going to increase it, I increase it. If I don't, I don't. And then I turn off my computer and I walk away. And I don't fidget with it, because I used to go in and up and down and up and down and up and down. And if you keep moving it, Facebook can't focus. They can't get a target. They can't aim correctly. So one time a day, go make a decision on an ad set. Am I going to increase it? Cool. 5, 10, 20, $25. Increase it. Come back the day later. See if your cost per lead has changed. If your cost per lead is still good, increase it again. Yeah. If your cost per lead is still good, increase. The moment your cost per lead goes out of whack, bring it right back to the last one that you had that worked. And then just don't touch it. No te tocas. Don't touch it at that point. Let it be.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure that I understand. I can maybe transfer this to the listeners as well. So just to understand why we don't want to say go from a $50 ad spend to a $100 ad spend per day is because Facebook obviously has a certain amount of money to play with. It goes, okay, you've given me $50 now to play with, and I know I need to go select these sort of people. Now when it goes, oh crap, I've got $100 to play with, and it doesn't have the same amount of data, it doesn't know who to give it off to, so it kind of just goes, and throws it out there, and it might not be working with the power of what the algorithm can handle.
That machine learning, right. It goes experimental with it versus more of what works with it. And 50 to 100 could work. Yeah, it's somewhere in that 50 to 150 range. When you try to double it, it just goes kind of out of whack. And sometimes when it gets out of whack, it's tough to pull it back. But if you go little by little, it seems to hold truer in that sense. And really knowing what your cost per lead needs to be. And if you have high ticket products, you can actually probably get away with more scaling than if you have low ticket products. Yep. So if you're selling something that's $27 or if you're selling something that's $997, you can spend $995 and still make a $2 profit. You can spend $25 and make a $2 profit. So you have more room to fiddle around if you have a high ticket funnel, or if you know you're making a lot of money out of the funnel. I don't run funnels like that on Facebook, so I don't have as much room to wiggle. I know the internet marketing space has a lot more high ticket stuff. I don't know about your area, but I'm pretty conservative. Like it's kind of like grown up gambling, and I only like to put more money on the table when I have a high confidence that's going to come right back.
It's a good point, and I think maybe we shouldn't go too far off the deep end. Like, yes, say selling a $7,000 or a $10,000 coaching program, you've obviously got wiggle room. But if we bring it on down even to what we were talking about before, let's say, okay, our initial front-end sales funnel is a $7 product right now. So what I need to be able to do is, can I get a customer right now for $6, and I still know I'm making $1, and I'm building my list for free, and I'm getting customers on board, and then we know the back end's building the business. I think that's a fantastic point to start with, because if we know we can bring people in through the front gate, in as a customer, I'm not losing money, and I can only build my business from there. Happy days, you're able to scale the business, scale the advertising.
And if that $7 front end offer isn't enough, add a one-click upsell afterwards for $47. And if half the people take you up on that, that adds an extra $25 average sale. So your average $7 sale is actually a $32 sale, which means you can now spend $31 or $32 to make a $7 sale, because you've got the one-click upsell making up the slack for the rest. And that's how you have to play the game. And as costs go up in Facebook, because we're talking about it, we're excited about it, other people get excited about it and jump in, the costs are creeping. With that said, it's still the absolute best buy of paid media out there. But as they go up, I'm continuing to rearrange my funnel to get more money in my funnel, so I can be the one who can spend more on a new customer than my competitors can. Because if you can spend more for a new customer than your competitors can, you're going to be able to buy up all the traffic.
Okay, brilliant. This is good. We've covered so much. I've got a page of notes here. This is brilliant. I think we should kind of wrap this into a nutshell here. Yep. Even come back to this at a later date and maybe start jumping into the more of the ninja stuff as well. Maybe even just collect. So obviously everyone tuning in, questions, comment below with the questions that you want us to be able to dive into. I will scrap, steal, and scream to get Miles back on to be able to make sure that we can even dive into this further, because we didn't even talk about the messenger ads and even the changes, because Facebook is constantly changing and being out on the cusp of this stuff. Because I saw when the messenger ads first came on board, I was like, I jumped on board and it started working, and it is working really, really well. And especially when you think the tipping point of being able to get someone to go from, okay, they've seen your sales offer, they're ready to go, but there's a good chance that they haven't bought just because there might be a question. Maybe there's just one tiny link missing, and then we could be spending, I think it's $2.17 a click now for a messenger ad going to that audience that can lead to a very, very high ticket offer. So it's kind of a no-brainer adding this in there as well. So, okay, there's so much we can dive into. This is brilliant. Miles, before we do wrap this into a little beautiful nutshell, how do we learn more about you, what you're doing, and the brilliance that you are?
Yeah, so I don't sell anything. I don't do coaching. I have no products. I'm literally trying to get this information out for free. So my blog and my YouTube channel, if you're new to Facebook advertising, definitely the YouTube channel, because I've got literally screen shares, click here, click here, click here. So I walk you through the process of getting it set up. On my website, we'll put the link in. It's / how to advertise on Facebook. I've got one blog post that has 30 videos on it, and it's literally the most comprehensive resource for how to advertise on Facebook for free. I get people in comments who are like, Miles, I bought an $800 course on Udemy for Facebook ads, and your free stuff is better. So literally it's out there, the nuts and bolts. The difficult part is the psychology of your audience, where they're at, and those 15 words or 7 or 12, whatever it is in the headline that trigger them emotionally and logically. So I really think follow Chris's lead, start writing out those sales letters, because and get Victor Schwab's How to Write a Good Advertisement book. It's old, the wording's kind of funky, but the human psychology that makes those headlines work, that is the make or break, right? If that headline does not compel them to take action on your ad and on your opt-in page, your money is not going to come back to you. But if those 17 words compel them to take action, you literally can have a mint, and you can mint your own money, and it's brilliant when it works. Tell me, trust me, it's amazing.
Okay, cool. I'm going to leave it there. I will get that link and I'll pop it below to be in the show notes as well. Miles, you are a living legend. I've got a lot of love for you. Thank you so much for being able to share this.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to jamming more.
Yeah, man. Hopefully it'll be in person in Bali in November. I think I'll be out that way, so it'd be fun to do a live. Awesome, mate. Thanks again for your time. Appreciate it.
Now it's time for you to get the most out of this, and for me to give you the answers to your questions. Join us in the Fitness Business Success Circle, the free group that I'll pop a link below for you to be able to get a part of. Also, go to thecoachescartel.com. This is where all the live streams, the guides, the training sessions, literally the steps laid out for you to be able to follow to take you from where you are right now to where you really want to go. Also, did you like this episode? If so, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the episodes to come where I'm making sure that I answer your questions. Comment below, tell me what it is that you're looking for, what questions do you have, and how I can make sure that you are getting the business, the life, the lifestyle, and the freedom that you really want by doing the work that you love. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode.